Welcome back to Robots versus Vampires. I'm Adrian Smith, and I'm really excited to kind of jump into today's story. It's it's a tale that kind of blows the lines between fantasy and sci-fi. It's going to force us to ask some interesting questions about, identity and choice, and really what it means to be human.
Yeah, that's right. I'm Julia Jones. I am so ready to unpack all this source material, and I can't wait to see what we find. Get ready, listeners.
Okay, so let's set the scene.
Mm.
Our story takes place in a world where vampires exist. But they aren't necessarily those blood-sucking villains we see in movies. In fact, our main character, Victor, he's actually looking for a cure for his vampirism.
Interesting.
He's heard rumors of a legendary moonbloom flower. It's hidden deep within the Forbidden Grove,
Hmm.
a place that's shrouded in mystery and danger.
And that's where things get really fascinating. This Forbidden Grove, according to the sources, is a labyrinth, and it's protected by these ancient, sentient trees. They're not just obstacles, they're guardians. They're testing anyone who dares to enter. What's interesting is how this concept of sentient trees, it's a classic fantasy thing, but it could be reimagined in a sci-fi context.
I was thinking the same thing, like, could these sentient trees be an allegory for some kind of advanced AI?
Yeah.
Or maybe even, a network of bioengineered plants that are designed to protect some hidden scientific facility?
Exactly. The source material doesn't actually define the origin of these trees, or their nature, really, which opens up a world of possibilities.
Yeah.
This ambiguity allows us to kind of explore the intersection of magic and technology, how those forces might interact in a world where, robots and vampires both exist.
So Victor encounters these sentient trees, and they actually present him with a challenge
Hmm.
to confront his greatest fear. Now, you might think a vampire's greatest fear would be, sunlight or garlic. But the source material reveals something much deeper. Victor's greatest fear is actually losing his humanity.
Oh, wow.
He's terrified of forgetting what it means to feel emotions, to connect with other people, on a human level.
This fear of losing humanity, it's not just a plot device. It speaks to a fundamental question that we see, explored in both vampire lore and discussions of AI. What does it even mean to be human? Is it about our biology, our emotions, or is it something else entirely?
And that's where things get really interesting because Victor, even though he's a vampire, he embodies so many qualities that we associate with humanity. He's compassionate, he's introspective, and he's driven by this desire for connection.
Right.
It really challenges our preconceived notions of what a monster can even be.
And it raises the question, could a robot or an AI, designed for logic and efficiency, could they ever develop these kinds of fears or longings? Could they yearn for something beyond their programming, striving for this deeper understanding of what it means to exist?
These are questions that philosophers and scientists are dealing with right now.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to see them reflected in this fantastical story.
Absolutely. And as Victor ventures deeper into the Forbidden Grove, facing his fear and moving towards the cure, the story throws another curveball. He runs into a wolf guardian. This creature seems to be tied to the ancient magic of the grove.
This wolf guardian,
Yeah.
he's not just a random encounter. It adds another layer of symbolism to the story. In many cultures, wolves represent intuition, instinct, a connection to the natural world. Could this wolf be a representation of those primal forces that exist, alongside technology and even the supernatural?
That's an interesting interpretation. It makes me think about the role of nature in a world that's increasingly dominated by technology. Are these forces in conflict, or can they coexist? Is there a balance to be found between, the rational and the intuitive, the artificial and the organic?
It's like the story is asking us to consider how everything is interconnected, whether it's ancient magic or cutting-edge tech, or those primal instincts that drive us all.
And as Victor continues his journey, he finally finds what he's been searching for, the moonbloom. But what happens next is perhaps the most surprising twist of all. He hesitates. He hesitates. After searching for so long, after everything he's risked, that's surprising.
It is. And this hesitation, it shows how complex Victor is. It's not just about getting rid of a curse. It's about figuring out who he is. He's lived as a vampire for centuries, and that's changed him, good and bad. The source material suggests that this moonbloom doesn't just cure vampirism, it erases all memories of it. So he's not just facing a physical change, he's facing an existential crisis.
That's where the AI comparison gets even more interesting. If we imagine a robot or AI that has a sense of self, would it choose to change its whole identity, even if it's supposed to be better?
It makes you think about what better or progress even means. especially with beings that can think about. Is it just about efficiency and how well they work, or is there something to be said for experience, even if it involves darkness and hardship?
And remember, this isn't just a thought experiment. We're seeing these issues pop up with AI already. As they get more advanced, we have to consider, is it ethical to change their core programming or memories? What rights should they have? What do we owe them?
It's a deep topic, but this story explores it really well, because in the end, Victor walks away from the cure. He accepts being a vampire, with all the good and bad that comes with it.
That's a strong message about accepting yourself. Even if you don't fit in, it makes us question our own biases. What makes us call something a monster? Can something we call a monster actually have good qualities, even ones we admire?
This is where the story really gets to you, because it doesn't give easy answers. It leaves us with questions that stick with us. Did Victor make the right choice? What would we do?
And by not giving those answers, the story gets us thinking. It pushes us to think about identity, the line between good and evil, and how technology, nature, and being human all connect.
We've talked a lot about Victor and his choices and what they mean,
Hmm.
but I want to go back to something we haven't really focused on. That moon bloom, this weird flower, it's not just part of the plot, it's like where magic and science meet.
Right. The sources describe it as the super rare plant. It can heal and transform in crazy ways.
Yeah.
Some say it's ancient alchemy, others say genetic engineering, even aliens. It's mysterious, which makes us wonder, how does it work? What can it do?
If it can cure being a vampire, what else can it do? Cure diseases, makes humans stronger, even mix organic and synthetic life.
Those are great questions. That make us think, what if this powerful thing was used for bad? Could it be a weapon? Could it make new, dangerous life? The story reminds us that any discovery, magical or scientific, can be good or bad. We got to be careful.
Like in sci-fi, right? Technology can be great, but also really dangerous. Genetic engineering, AI, they all have that potential for both good and bad. It's up to us to decide how to use them.
Yeah.
It's like Victor with the moon bloom. He has to make a choice that could change everything. We're like that too. We make choices that shape the future. And we have to be smart, think about what's right, and understand what could happen.
Exactly. We're living in a time of huge scientific and technological leaps. We're close to making AI as smart as humans, messing with the basics of life, exploring space like never before. But all this power means big responsibility.
Just like Victor with that choice. We all have choices that will make the future what it is. And those choices, we got to be careful with them, think about what's right, and know what could happen because of them.
So as we finish up today, think about Victor's journey. Think about his choices, what he struggled with. How do they connect to your own life? How can this story help you understand our world where technology, nature, and the supernatural are all getting mixed up?
Thanks for joining us on this adventure with robots and vampires. We hope you liked our deep dive and that it made you think. Remember to rate and follow the show for more exciting stories. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep those imaginations going.